The most people-pleasing thing you can do is talk yourself out of what you already know. I want you to think about the last time you had a clear knowing about something and then spent the next 3 days arguing yourself out of it. Not because the knowing was wrong, because acting on it was going to disappoint someone. I'm Sandy Bartlett, self-discovery coach for second spring women who are learning to trust themselves more than they trust the noise. Today, I want to talk about what it actually looks like to start listening to something other than everyone else's opinion. Because it's not a clean, graceful process, and nobody tells you that. Before we go any further, have you ever had a gut feeling about something and spent more time convincing yourself out of it than you did listening to it? Yes or no in the comments. I think we already know the answer. A few summers ago, I was supposed to take a trip to visit my daughter. Everything was booked, hotel, flights, connecting through Chicago. My daughter was expecting us. My husband was ready to go. And something in me kept saying, not a logical no, not a reason I could hand to somebody and have them nod and say, yeah, that makes sense. Just a persistent, quiet, wouldn't let me sleep knowing that I was not supposed to get on that plane. The old version of me would have packed her bag and gone anyway. Because the money was spent, because my daughter was expecting us, because what kind of mother cancels on her daughter because of a feeling? I almost did. I almost talked myself all the way back into going. Instead, I got quiet and asked for guidance. What came back was simple. Trust your intuition. I called my daughter. Didn't say we were canceling, just said we needed to delay. She stepped outside to take the call and said she understood completely. My husband didn't question it either. And then the day we would have been traveling, the day I had almost forced myself onto that plane, there was a tornado near the airport where we were supposed to land for our connecting flight. I didn't need any more proof than that. But here's what I want you to hear. The proof wasn't the point. I didn't trust my knowing because of the tornado. The tornado just confirmed something I had already chosen to act on before I had any evidence at all. That was not a small thing. For a recovering people pleaser, choosing what you know over what keeps everyone comfortable before you can prove it's worth it, that is enormous. I want to know, has there ever been a time you followed a gut feeling and it turned out to be exactly right, even when you couldn't explain it? Drop a word or a sentence below. I really want to hear this. If this is resonating, if you're in a season where you're starting to hear something in yourself that you've been drowning out for years, I want you to know there's a space for exactly this. Journey to Self, the Awakening is my community for second spring women doing this work together. Not theory, real women, real patterns, real shifts. The link is in the description. Here's what I know now that I didn't know then. People pleasing doesn't just show up in the big things. It shows up in the moment you have a clear knowing, and your first response is to check what everyone else needs before you act on it. It shows up in the scan, the delay, the negotiation you have with yourself, where you list every reason why your knowing is inconvenient for someone else. And the only way through it is to start practicing the thing that feels terrifying, trusting yourself before you have proof. Not because the feeling is always right, but because you have spent years, maybe even decades, being the last person you consult. That has to stop somewhere. It might as well start here. I don't know what you've been talking yourself out of, but I have a feeling you do. I'll see you next time.